the Suki and Scott Show.
This is one of the funnest shows I've ever done.
Lady, when you're with me, I'm smiling.
It's musical. It's magical.
Suki and Scott, the Seven of Hearts. Exactly.
What she said. This is a sexy show.
Someone's getting some action.
Now, these larger-than-life personalities are on an exciting new journey as they bring you the Suki and Scott Show.
You guys nailed it. You're great. You ask great questions. You listen.
I answered you because I have respect for you guys, and it was a question respectfully put.
The Suki and Scott Show is your one-stop destination for humor.
You like De Niro and Cape Fear. Counselor.
Entertainment.
Jesse's girl. Wonderful.
Can you paint with all the colors of the wind?
And optimism.
You guys have such amazing energy.
Ultraviolet light, it gets in there and it just fights the kung flu, is that right? Okay.
Let's laugh together.
I love him.
The Suki and Scott Show.
That's the best intro for a show I maybe have ever seen. Yeah, your intro is fantastic.
There he is, Dancing with the Stars phenom, Suki.
I
Eric
know.
Roberts.
And he's doing so well.
Oh, I hope he sticks around.
Got
soon.
a book out, so we'll see.
Yeah, listen, ladies and gentlemen, Suki and Scott Show, we are rolling along. I mean, the show after show. Suki, I think we're in like the 1,000 show range by now.
I think we're doing pretty well.
Right?
And you know what? We've got a new studio. We're here with our friends at Odyssey, and we want to thank them.
Yeah.
Right here in downtown Manhattan.
Yeah, don't say Midtown.
No,
Suki.
I was about to say Midtown, but I know we're in
at the
downtown
Odyssey
Manhattan.
Studios, and I mean, we've had over 1,600 guests at this point.
Yeah, we were talking about
right
that
from
just
Vanessa
now.
Williams to George Lopez.
Yeah.
I mean, you name it. They've been on this show, and we have an absolute legend on the program today, ladies and gentlemen. T.G. Sheppard, country music superstar / legend. #1 hits, Suki, up the yin yang.
Yes.
And he was good friends with Elvis. He's got
the stories. I want to hear the
so many great
stories.
stories. We're going to talk to TG in just a second. He's got a new album out that came out a couple of years ago. He's still rolling along. Beautiful wife. He sings with her. They've got an album coming out.
They've got an album together.
We're going to talk to him in just a second. First, Suki, 2 quick things.
Okay.
#1, Scotty's 40th high school reunion.
What?
Coming up very soon.
Are we going to have pictures before and
40th
after?
high school reunion, Suki. There are girls that I may or may not have, I don't know.
Did I met your high school girl. I know your college girl.
Remember she came on with that? That was really funny. Was very, very. She had a lot of nice things.
Nice things to say about you. I'd love to see what they have to say from high school.
From high school, right? And the thing is, there wasn't going to be. See, I have to go. There wasn't going to be a 40th reunion.
But
I emailed the girl who did it 10 years ago
and said, "Where is it?"
I said, "Hey, Jody, when is the?" She says, "Oh, we're not doing it this year. Nobody wanted to do it." I said, "What do you mean nobody's doing it?
Yeah,
you
we got to
do
it. Just send it out."
She goes, "I'm not doing it." I said, "Yeah, you got to do it. You have no choice." She says, "Well, why don't you check and see who'd be interested, and we'll see if people want to go." She put a couple things up on Facebook, and sure enough, people went. People said they're interested. We got over 150 people coming.
Wow.
And now and everybody's like, "You really got?" I gotta go. I made this girl do the reunion.
Yeah,
I gotta
go.
Up.
Yeah.
So that's coming up.
I can't wait to hear about stories about you, boy.
It's gonna be, I gotta.
Are you taking your wife?
No, my wife's not coming. We don't go to those things with each other. That's not fun for the other person. I am picking up. I had in our little core group, I had a beautiful girl. Her name's Donna. Was one of our buddies.
Yeah.
I'm picking her up.
Okay.
We're gonna go together.
Oh, that's great.
And it should be pretty fun.
All right.
And
I love it.
Hopefully everybody's wearing name tags, so I know what the heck's going on and who's who, because
you have to have the before picture and the after. Hi.
Right. Because it's easy for them. They're listening to me on the radio.
Yeah.
They see our show.
Yeah. Yep.
So hey, Scott, what's going on?
I know what you.
Hey, you. What's good? So hopefully everybody's wearing.
Everyone will wear their name tags, and you will.
Like
it'll be perfect.
Romy and Michelle's high school reunion. Remember that?
I know.
Anyway.
What year did you graduate?
1984.
Wow.
So it's our 40th high school reunion soon.
All right. I want pictures. I want stories.
And before we bring TG on, I just wanted to get your opinion on this. Recently in the news, recently, there was a story. There's a documentary out called Nothing But a Good Time. And it's a documentary about the hair bands of this.
Yeah, nothing but a good
Little Poison,
time.
right?
Yep.
All those guys. So Warrant, you remember the song "She's My
My
Cherry Pie"?
Yeah.
Bobby Brown was the model
Mm-hmm.
in that video,
Mm-hmm.
and they were splashing her with water. And
Yeah.
she was on the Corvette.
Yeah, yeah.
Basically, every video of every hair band, right? Tony Katane.
Yes.
All those.
Yes.
Um,
Tony was doing the splits though.
yeah,
On
Tony
the Jaguar.
that was for White
On the
Snake,
Jaguar.
right? So recently in this documentary, I forget who it was. The guys in the group Warrant, when they look back at the video,
Mm-hmm.
they almost apologized, saying that the video was very misogynistic.
Mm-hmm.
And how they didn't want to, they never meant to hurt anybody, which I don't think they did.
Yeah.
But they would think twice about doing it now. And I wanted
That's
to,
amazing.
but and when I did the story on the radio, I said it's basically every hairband video from that time period
Right.
was with a girl in a car and they're
Right.
spraying her down, the whole thing. So it's funny to me how we're all, these guys are probably in their 60s, maybe
Sure.
even early 70s
Right.
now. And they look back and they're like, boy, I can't believe we did that. But I don't even think Bobby Brown she loved it because it shot her to fame back in the day
Right.
as a model. So I just wanted to get your opinion on it. If you thought it was like, a misogynistic thing when videos were at their height at that time.
Well, I think it's like everything in culture, right? I think there are references and things that happen throughout the course of, any sort of entertainment that we can look at and say, you know what? It doesn't stand up to the standards and the place that we are at right now as people. I mean, I get it. They're 65 years old and they're looking at it and they're like, yeah, you know what? The optics don't look so good, right? But, and they might be girl dads and they might be grandpas by now.
Right,
Who knows?
Right. That's probably what they're looking at.
And they're probably like, oh, my kids are looking at this. And, let me tell you something. This generation of kids, I mean, like my son, my daughter, they'll say, ooh, that's a little sexist, or they'll say, oh, that's a little racist, and I was like, I don't think you can be little anything. I was like, either you're racist
you're
or
out.
you're sexist.
You're not a little pregnant.
You're not a little pregnant, right. So, but they call stuff out. So I'm curious to know what was the impetus of them saying it. But I do think my opinion on this is that we are at a point right now that we can reflect upon, because the 80s was how many years ago?
40 years ago.
40 years ago. So you're looking at, a long, long time, and how far we've come as a culture. I mean, and look,
I got no problem with the video.
Yeah, I know you don't. I know you don't.
I've never grown up.
You're a man. You're a man. But
we'll see what TG thinks. Ladies and gentlemen, TG Sheppard coming up. Suk, ranked among the top 100 country artists of all time. 21 number one hits for TG Sheppard. Take a look, a little bit of TG. We'll bring him in on the other side. Watch.
This is the only way I have to say. My love don't matter one. Everybody sing along. Here we go. Big, little, or short or tall. Wish I could have kept them all. My love don't matter one. Like to think I'm for the charm. Holding me in your arms, and the whole thing had some fun. Here's to the ladies in saloons and living rooms, summer nights that lasted until dawn. Here's to the memories, everyone's a part of me. Oh, one love don't matter one. Big, little, or short or tall. Wish I could have kept them all.
There he is, ladies and gentlemen. TG Sheppard.
Woo!
Oh my gosh. You know what? I've got to agree with Eric Roberts. I have never seen an intro to a show like your show. I mean, wow. Unreal.
TG, that was the old stuff during COVID. We've done 1,000 shows since. I think we need to update that thing because it's crazy. Yeah.
But we thank you so much for that, though. Really, thank you.
Well, I mean it. I mean, it's hard enough putting shows together, but man, talk about an intro. Wow.
Yeah, we've had it all, from entertainers to
I'm going to cry when we change that one.
Singers and
You said
a
you've
lot
had,
of tomfoolery.
did I hear you say you've had 1,600 guests?
Well,
Yeah.
we've done. We used to do it live, and we would have
5 days a week.
5 days a week, 2 guests a show. So if you think about it, we've done
Yeah.
over 1,000 shows. We're probably close to 2,000 guests.
Yes, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
A lot of work, TJ. A lot of work.
I'm honored to be here with you. So
Thank you,
Thank you,
TG.
TG.
And listen, you are an absolute legend. You've got an amazing career. First things first, I keep seeing that the initials TG don't mean anything, and I just don't believe it, TG.
well, around the house, it's just, hey, you. Take out the garbage, take out the dog. No, really and truly, when I got ready to make the change from Bill Browder, which was my real name when I was an RCA Victor record executive, over to being a country artist, I just sat down one day and I took a piece of paper, and I've always liked the name Sheppard. It kind of looked good written out. And then initials were big back then because you had C.W. McCall, you had B.J. Thomas, you had, they were kind of big. I thought, well, I'll just pick initials. So I just put a T and a G, and it just kind of worked out. So I nicknamed the Good Shepherd. Now, I don't know so much about that.
I like that.
But no, it's been a heck of a ride. People say, what's in a name? I guess everything is.
Everything.
By the way, B.J. Thomas was a guest on our show literally
just before he passed away.
4 or 5 months before he passed away.
What am I?
So I just did me some talking to the sun, and I said I didn't like the way he got things done. Sleeping on the job, those raindrops are falling on my head, and they keep falling.
I got to tell you something funny. People still to this day come up to me after a show, and they'll go, "You didn't do the song I come to hear."
Which one?
And I'll go, which one? Raindrops keep falling on my head. I'm going, no, wrong guy. That was B.J. Thomas. I'm TG. Oh, no, I got the song at home. I know. They argue. So, no, I loved B.J. He was a very dear friend.
Oh, my God. Yeah, and he sang Raindrops Keep Falling for us. He did I Can't Fight This Feeling. And he was just such a great guy. And then I was so heartbroken. I was like, oh, my God, B.J., we just had him on the show and he passed away.
It's been a strange 2 years for me. And if I can kind of talk about that for a second.
Sure.
Not BJ. I have lost so many iconic friends the last couple of years or the last 3 or 4 years. I mean, everybody from Kenny Rogers to Mac Davis was in my living room here singing with me 3 days before he passed away.
Wow.
I mean, it is just amazing to me to have lost so many great, dear, close friends here lately. And man. But you know what? Entertainers, the music lives on. And they may be gone, but never forgotten because of their music, their legacy.
And we saw some of the pictures of some of the greats that you worked with,
Yeah.
I mean, Kenny Rogers being one of them. Tell me about the story about you and Kenny and your friendship.
Well, I was with Kenny back when we were in the round. I mean, you're paying to 20 and 30,000 people a show. And his intro was Chariots of Fire. I mean, it was just absolutely amazing. It's like a spaceship opening up in the middle of the room. But Kenny was just one of those really kind individuals. It was just so down to earth and was such a consummate performer. He was really my mentor. He's the guy that I went to school on to learn what I do on stage because he was the best at it. He made it look easy. He told me one time, I said, you make it look so easy. He said, let me tell you what, the easier you can make it look on stage when you perform, the more people will relax with you.
100%.
Enjoy your show more. And so I really went to work on that. But no, you love it. It was just great.
You got to know when to hold.
So many.
What a great song.
Oh, when to fold 'em. What a song. Wow.
TG, is it true that you at 15 years old left your house, went to Memphis, and said, "I'm going to be a country superstar"?
Yeah. I ran away from home. I was a runaway at 15 with 60 cents in my pocket.
Wow,
And,
that's unbelievable.
I hitchhiked to Memphis, and God let me catch this incredible career. I celebrate my 50th anniversary tours next year, 50 years on the road. And I mean, it just, I got lucky. Then I was at the right place at the right time. When I ran away from home, I wound up in Memphis. And of course, that's when I met Elvis. And meeting him, and he befriended me. I mean, I was actually living in the alleyways of Beale Street and eating out of garbage cans.
On Beale Street?
Yeah, to survive. I would sleep in the alleyways and doorways of office buildings to stay warm. And he met me and he saved my life. And I don't know what he saw in me to make me his friend, but I met him at a skating rink one night late, and they were closing the rink up, and I was standing out front, and 2 or 3 Cadillacs pull up, and Elvis gets out from behind the wheel of the lead car and walks right over to me, and I'm in shock because Elvis Presley's talking to me, and he asked me to join him and skate, and I did, and afterwards he says, "Let's go up to Graceland and have a bite to eat. Are you hungry?" And of course, oh my God, those days I was starving, and we went and had the famous peanut butter and banana sandwich. I had 4 because I was hungry.
You had an Elvis peanut butter
with
and banana
Elvis
sandwich?
Yeah, I ate a lot of meals. I virtually lived at Graceland for 7 years.
Wow,
that's unbelievable.
Yeah, if the walls could talk, huh?
Yeah.
I mean, people always ask me, what was he like at home? I mean, just around the house, or we see the entertainer on stage, we see the movies, we hear the music. What was he really like? He was just a guy. Mm-hmm. He was a Southern guy that had a love for his fans like no other, and a love for his mom. He was a mama's boy.
Yeah.
They're mowing the grass outside. I hope that's not interfering too much.
No.
But no, Elvis was just one of those unique individuals. The best advice that Elvis ever gave me, I remember it so well. I had my first or second #1 records, and he was really happy for me. And he said, "Your career is starting to do well. Can I give you some advice?" And I said, "Sure." He said, "Always remember that if you ever forget where you came from, you will never get where you want to go. There's no room for ego in this business." And matter of fact, he even gave me my first tour bus as a gift to get me started. What a gift.
What a gift.
That is wild.
But
Gave you a first tour bus. Wow.
I mean, people say, "Did Elvis ever give you a Cadillac?" I said, "Yeah, he gave me something that's worth several Cadillacs, a bus."
Yes.
But he was
I guess the big question is, did you know how to roller skate when he asked you to go in?
Sure, yeah. I was there roller skating that night anyway. I had a friend that worked there, and he was letting me roller skate free. And of course, it was warm in the roller rink. It was a winter night. And so I went there and spent the evening. We roller skated for about 4 hours. And he was, I really have trouble sometimes believing that I was there, because it's such a big part of musical history. He was. And to have been able to tour with him and be on the road and be on the Lisa Marie with him flying around the world, it was just an amazing time in my life. And I really and truly have trouble sometimes, going back and remembering that I was really there, that I lived history.
I mean, you live the music folklore. You live the legacy. You live the stories. Yeah, that's incredible. We were talking about how many people, like, because you have been in the industry as a legend for so long. I mean, look at Tony Bennett. We're talking about relationships with people that you've had, that you've loved. What was that like? And that's Reba McEntire. Yeah. Tell us a little bit about, Michael Jackson, Tony Bennett, and Reba that you loved. And of course, your wife here with Dolly.
Yeah. Well, I find that the bigger the star, the more down to earth. And unique they are. And that's what really makes a star, is the fact that they're unique and they don't take serious who they are. I mean, their job, singing or acting or performing to them is a job, and they're just people. Just because they stand in a spotlight once a day or in front of a camera, they never feel that they're better than anybody else. There's no ego. And they're the biggest and nicest people in the world.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
We got to meet Tony Bennett once, and I got to tell you, like, he was talking about his painting, and just incredible, so down to earth, so real in so many ways. Who was the other person that we both met that we were both like, wow?
I don't know. So many.
The bigger this, and I think you're right, TG, because the bigger the star, the more down to earth they really are. There's not a lot of entourages and people you have to get through.
Well, you know, the biggest problem that big stars have is that their entourage around them are the ones that really and truly make a lot of decisions, and the star never really does know that maybe somebody got offended, or somebody didn't get backstage. Because those people that they surround themselves with take on that responsibility of protecting that person. Elvis was that way. I mean, he had so many people around him that he never knew that somebody would not have tried to get through to him that was a friend. And but that group protected him. And but no, sometimes entourages can be very dangerous. I tend to be a one-on-one guy. We have a lot of people who travel on the road with us, with our crew and our musicians and staff. But I always make sure that I'm able to do one-on-one with anybody who wants to say hello.
I love it.
TG, you talk about this business, whether it's music or broadcasting, whatever job, persistence is the key, right?
Yeah. Right.
Your first #1 song, Sue, called "Devil in a Bottle." That was the one that really changed your life. And if I read correctly, you got turned down by about 8 or 9 different recording labels with that song.
I've got to tell you, yes, I did. And I got to tell you another great story. I'm a storyteller, okay, with my music and with my, interviews. I went to the mailbox the day that I knew that I was going to get my Billboard magazine to see my song #1. Okay?
Right.
And I reached into my mailbox, and there was the Billboard, and I opened it up, and there it was, T.G. Sheppard, #1 out of 100 artists below me. And I'm freaking out. And then I reached in that same mailbox, and there was a little tape box where I had sent that same song, this #1 over here, to a record company, and it was sent back to me with a rejection letter saying, "We're sorry, at this time we do not feel that this is a commercial record." So in one hand it's #1, and in the left hand it's rejected. So it goes to show you, just believe in what you're doing and stay on course, because things can happen for you.
So you're holding the Billboard magazine where it says #1 and a
then the other
rejection letter in the other hand.
Yeah, I mean, go figure. I mean, in the same mailbox, and I'm going, wow. So it's very fickle business we're in.
That is
that's
very funny.
It's actually like, a metaphor for life in some ways, right?
But you would think after like the 3rd, 4th, 5th rejection, you're like, wow, maybe this isn't the song. But you stuck to your guns, and you knew that was the one to stick with.
I knew that song was a hit because that's what I did for a living as a record executive. I was a promoter. I made sure the radio stations saw the artist when they came in to do concerts. I made sure that they got their records to play. And so I felt a decent ear to be able to tell if a song could be a hit. And lo and behold, it went on. And then afterwards, everybody says, I always knew that song. Everybody then is right, of course, after it becomes the hit. But no, I just believed in it, and it wound up being the first of 21 #1s.
21
21. You got Trying to Beat the Morning Home, Last Peter's Waltz, Party Time, Only One You.
You know, somebody always people ask me, well, what is your favorite song that you've had? Well, it's like your children. Which child do you love the most?
Which one do you love the best?
They really and truly, each one has a very special place in your life, and they come at a time in your life that really brings magic to your life. And so I love doing all of my hits. I can't do them all in concert. It would be there for hours, but I try to pick the ones that I think people want to hear the most. But performing to me is the ultimate. I mean, I love performing live. There's nothing greater than feeling that instant feedback.
Eddie Rabbit, right?
Crowd, you know?
Is that Eddie Rabbit in that shot?
Yes.
Well, I love Rainy Night.
And Janie Freaky.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Wow. Is that me? Gee.
That is
That
you,
is
bud.
you, sir.
Wow. Man, that's when I had the perm. Oh boy.
Yeah. TG, when you were in concert, when you perform, are there any covers that you do from, you know, particular an Elvis or a Kenny Rock? Are there any covers that you like to do in concert?
I mean, if somebody in my crowd screams out a Merle Haggard song, and if I know it, I'm gonna do it because they deserve that. They come to be entertained, and but yes, I will do a Ray Price song. I will do a BG song. You know, Barry's a dear friend of mine, and no, I there's nothing wrong with mixing it up. Really.
What's your favorite Bee Gees song?
How do you mend a broken heart?
Oh.
Hypothetically, if we were to scream that out, would you give us 15, 30 seconds of that?
How do you mend a broken heart? Matter of fact, I'm getting ready to go down to Miami and visit Barry for a few days.
Oh my gosh.
We're very close. We speak on a regular basis.
Wow.
And I call him my little brother. And
I love it.
He calls me his big brother. And we've been friends for a long, long time. And
how did you guys meet?
He had just bought the Johnny Cash estate down the street from where I live here in Hendersonville, outside of Nashville.
Yeah, yeah.
And a tornado had come through, and a lot of people lost their lives and their property and their homes.
Wow.
And my wife, Kelly, put together a benefit concert. And she turned to me one day and she said, you know, Barry Gibb just bought Johnny Cash and June Carter's estate, and he's going to move here. And I said, you can't get through to Barry Gibb. Are you kidding me? She said, I'm going to try. Well, she wrote Barry a letter and got it to a lady that worked for him. And lo and behold, Barry's manager calls Kelly and says, he loved your letter. He accepts your invitation to come and be on the concert that you're doing, to benefit concert to help people who've lost everything. And he wants to sing with you.
Wow.
Wow. So he came to Nashville. We would go over to the Johnny Cash estate before it burned. Of course, it burned years ago. And spent the day with him. And we left that day, and Barry turned to Kelly and I, and he said, I want you to know what's just happened. And we said, what? And he said, we are now friends for life.
Wow. I love him.
Serendipity. He said it was meant to be, and we have been. We've been friends for life since then.
Please help me mend
a broken heart. But I love being on the road with Barry. I went down to catch Barry's concert in Miami, and his opening act was Andrea Bocelli.
Andrea Bocelli, huh?
And I'm going, that's your opening act? and of course, Gloria Estefan in Miami Sound Machine was the opening act. And they had 100,000 people there. And then Barry walks out on stage and jive talking. And I'm going, that's my friend up there. But to me, he's just a guy.
Right, just a guy
that loves music and loves
what you do.
It's just, I mean, he'll call me and I'll look down and it'll say BG and I'll go, I still sometimes have to pinch myself. I was a huge fan of his before we ever became friends. But life is wonderful that way. Oh, it's wow.
And you were talking about just getting off the phone with Lionel Richie.
Yeah, yeah. You got some heavy hitter friends there, TG.
Well, Lionel, I've known Lionel for 50 years.
Wow.
I knew Lionel. We were both discovered by Motown, by Berry Gordy. Okay. Devil in the Bottle back in 1974 was my first #1. And my contract was with Berry Gordy. And Lionel had just become a member of the Commodores. And of course, now it's Lionel Richie, the superstar. And so we've known each other forever. He's a Southern guy. And just a dear, 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 loving friend. And one of the most down-to-earth human beings I have ever known. They all are. The names I mentioned to you. There's another one, and John Travolta, so down to earth. I mean, to sit down and have dinner with him and talk is just like talking to your next door neighbor.
I love it.
It's weird. Amazing. It's weird.
Wait, who's that again?
That was John Travolta a while ago. This is Randy Travis.
Oh, Randy Travis, right? I just lost his name for a second.
Yeah. And of course,
that's unbelievable. You know who you in the picture with him and Travolta, you looked a little bit like right there. You look like who was the game show host way back in
Chuck Woolery. Go ahead and say it.
Chuck Woolery.
People tell you that?
That all the time. That or Dudley Moore.
So, Dudley Moore. Dudley Moore.
But you know what?
I can see Chuck Woolery in that one. Yeah.
But the thing about, as I said earlier, it sounds like you're name dropping whenever you have friends that are that big, but to me, they're just people.
They're just people.
They're not the superstars that you see. I mean, they're my friends, and I don't look at them as stars.
Yeah.
And I don't treat them as stars. I treat them as a friend. If they're sick, I want to call them. I'm going to say a prayer for them. I'm going to go see them. If they're down, I'm going to do everything I can to lift them up. So to me, they're just friends. Friends.
I have to imagine it's got to be pretty fun for you, your beautiful wife, Kelly. You guys do a lot of performing. I mean, she's a great singer-songwriter herself. And you guys, doing a lot of stuff together. That's got to be pretty fun for you too.
Well, we just did an album called Chemistry. We put all of our songs together that we have loved for years as duets. And it's been doing very well, Chemistry. And anybody who wants to go check it out can go to tgsheppard.com or kellylang.net or socials, whatever. But to be married to somebody who does what you do for a living is great. I mean, we have so much in common to be able to be on stage with her. And of course, Kelly's closest friend in the world was Olivia Newton-John.
Oh.
And matter of fact, Olivia has sat in this room at dinner many times.
Wow.
And she was just so wonderful. So, but Kelly is a breast cancer survivor, and she got close to Olivia because Olivia went through all of that, and that's what she passed of. And so they became instant sisters when they met through Barry Gibb. We had dinner at Barry Gibb's house in Miami, and Olivia was there. And she and Kelly became lifelong friends from then on.
That is amazing.
Such a cool
story. I'm still amazed at the Elvis stuff on Beale Street. That blows me away. I love that stuff. I mean, it's unbelievable.
I asked Elvis one time, I'll tell you a little story. I asked him one time, I said, how did you get here? How did you become who you are? And he said, it was easy. I said, please tell me. He said, I willed it. I said, what do you mean you willed it? He said, I used to drive around Memphis. I was an electrician apprentice to be an electrician. And I drove a pickup truck. And he said, I drive around town working, doing electrical jobs. And I would dream of walking out on a stage and singing to thousands of people. He says, I dreamed it, I ate it, I slept it, I thought of it constantly. And then one day he said, I just walked out and there they were.
There it was.
He said, I thought about it so hard and so hard. He said, the mind is a powerful tool. If you think long enough and hard enough about something, you can actually make something happen. He was a very positive guy. So, yeah, I can't say enough about Elvis. We have some incredible stories, incredible memories together. And being in the recording studio with him was always just a delight. I mean, I remember the night he cut Suspicious Minds. I was in the studio and I went, wow, this is going to be a monster. And it was.
Wow. We're caught in a trap.
Yeah. I mean, when I heard him sing, I went, this is going to be, and it was just gigantic. But,
gigantic hit.
One of my favorites.
Was there a favorite room when you went to Elvis's estate? Because, we've all toured it. We've all gone to it.
The Jungle Room to me was
Jungle Room. I was going to say that was mine too.
Because we always kind of hung out there. That's where we watched TV. And the kitchen was right next to that. And we would eat in the dining room. But that and the room where the pool table is with all the fabric on the walls and the ceiling.
Yeah.
And of course, I always loved the soda fountain where the 3 TVs were. The whole house to me was magical. I mean, it was just a magical place. Have
you ever walked by, gone into it again? Ever? Just
oh yeah, many times. Yeah,
okay.
I've done specials there. It's very strange to be there now with him gone because his aura was so strong that you really I can feel his presence. I almost expect him to turn the corner at any minute and see him like I did so many times in a room. It took me a long time, several years after his passing, to accept the fact that he was gone. I think I was in such denial and shock, like a lot of people were, because we were still seeing his movies, we were still hearing his music. So unless you were in a room with him or seeing him in concert, he was still alive to a lot of people because he was still there with all he had done. But it really and truly amazes me that I can still feel his presence when I go to Graceland. And I stay in touch with Priscilla all the time. We meet up with her quite often. And she's the same way, it just... The house was a magical house, very magical. It wasn't the mansion that everybody expects Elvis to live in. It was a home. When you walked into his house, you got a hug.
Wow.
Because it was warm, inviting. The colors were vibrant, and you could feel the love in the home that he had for his mom, his dad, his grandmother, his aunt, his family, his friends. So it was an incredible, and still is an incredible place to go visit.
That's amazing. TG, I could listen to your stories for the next 2 hours. Tell us where can folks go again to get the new album with you and your wife?
Well, you can go to tgsheppard.com or kellylang.net, or be sure and follow us on all of our socials, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, X. And YouTube. Our YouTube channels have a lot of video footage of
stuff,
and stuff that we put up. So any of those places, and to pick up our tour schedule, because I'm on tour every week. This week I head up to New York, and then next week's Texas for 3 days. So I mean, we're everywhere every week.
Where are you in New York?
I'm in outside of Albany.
Oh, well, upstate New York. Okay.
Yeah.
So I think.
But I just want to know the secret to how he looks so good. Just say it out loud. I mean.
Oh gosh. Well, just good, clean living.
Clean living.
But Well, when you're married to somebody as beautiful as Kelly,
There you go.
You got to keep your stuff together, or
That's it.
She could trade me in for a new or younger model at any moment, and I wouldn't blame her. But no,
You look great. I'm just going to say it out loud.
Yeah.
You look great.
Yeah, Dudley. I don't see Dudley Moore in there at all.
Yeah, no, we don't see him.
We also learned that we need you to get Barry Gibb on the show, John Travolta.
Yeah.
You don't want much, do you?
Lionel Richie.
And anybody you want to.
Well, I'll be glad to help you in any way I can.
TG,
I always
you're
ask.
awesome.
I can always ask.
You're amazing, bud. Listen,
Thank you so
absolute
much.
pleasure. I mean, it's the story. I could listen to you all day. Best male artist in 1976.
Wow, 76. Long ago.
I was only 10 at that time, so at least I feel young somewhere along the line.
Well, I've had a heck of a run, but I got to tell you something. I do a lot of interviews, like a lot of people have told you. Okay. But I want to tell you something. Doing your show is not like doing an interview. It's just having a conversation with two people. And to me, the successful people in our business are the ones that master the art of conversation. And you two have mastered the art of conversation. What a joy it has been for me to be with you.
Well, thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
That means a lot coming from you. Thank you.
You know what, TG? You just made our new open.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank
What
you,
an
sir.
absolute pleasure. Legend, TG. Thank you. Keep doing what you're doing as long as you can, pal.
I will if you keep doing what y'all are doing.
Listen, we've been thinking like Elvis. We're going to be in front of a network audience.
We're going to make it
There
happen.
you go. You're ready. Thank you.
Thank you, TG. Thank you, pal.
Bye.
Unbelievable, Suk. What a great guy.
Woo!
It's amazing.
I
huh?
mean, I was listening to the stories, like, and just the pearls of wisdom
Oh
he
my
was dropping on us just now.
I could
you
listen
know,
to those stories all day.
The mind is a powerful thing. What you think will happen, he could, just all of the successful people, and also the fact that he was part of the music industry before he became a person who was a talent himself.
He was an executive.
He was an executive.
Oh my God.
So I mean, there's a lot to this story, and it's amazing that he's able to be the torchbearer for all of his friends.
Suk, it's almost like if you and I sent this show demo out to 15 people, and every one of them said, "Nah, we're not interested," and we just kept going, and then you become the biggest show in the world, which is so gratifying, right? It's just you just want to I think stick it in everybody else's face.
Yeah, but I think the bottom line is we just keep doing what we're doing because you know what? They love us and they're the ones that count. And that's what makes us get out of bed and put the show together. And the fact that we believe in this, right? And the fact that he can give us a compliment like that and say that, I feel like I met two people and I was just having a conversation.
Yeah.
That's all we wanted this show to be about.
I won't be posting that comment.
Well, that's
that'll be all over social media.
I always tell him what makes the show so special. It's really simple. It's two people who are really interested in the person that they're interviewing, and the ultimate goal for our show is to just have a conversation where someone tells us all the wonderful things that they have done, so we can pass along the goodness and maybe hopefully inspire you to do what you're doing and to keep on going, because we all need a little bit of that.
Yep. T.G. Sheppard, ladies and gentlemen, go look him up. Go get that album, download it, whatever you have to do. Amazing man. He and his wife, Kelly Lang. Thank you, everybody, for joining us here on another fine program. Suk, we keep rolling along.
And we do.
The guests keep on coming.
What did Elvis say?
Elvis keep envision it and it will happen. Think it and it will come. You know who else said that to us?
Field of Dreams.
Mark Randolph.
Field of Dreams.
Yeah, build it and they will come. Mark Randolph, the guy who started Netflix.
Yes, Mark Randolph too.
Build it and they will come. That's going to do it for us, ladies and gentlemen.
And you know whose voice that was,
yes,
right?
James Earl Jones. Yes, also passed away recently. We will see you next time here on this fine program. Stick around. More to do. We love you, Suki and Scott Show. Take care, everybody.
Well, one thing, the reason I stayed with Frank so long, he never knew how much in awe of him I was, because I picked up on that the moment I met him. I'm an ex-bartender, and I used to read people a lot. But he didn't want another fan. He had millions and millions of fans. He wanted a pal. He wanted a buddy, and that happened for me. I'd stay in his home 6 times a year, you know, down his compound down in Rancho Mirage. Frank never went to bed till the sun came up. He was nocturnal, whether we were on the road or off the road. So he would come and get me out of my bungalow on his compound and say, let's take a ride, Tommy. And we'd ride around the desert till dawn, just Frank and I.
Wow.
And it was wonderful moments, because toward the end of his life, he really opened up a lot more. And when I first started touring with him, he was the boss of this magnificent tour. Halfway through that tour, he was like a buddy. We hung out together. And toward the end of his life, he was like a father to me and gave me a lot of advice. And I used to make him laugh, because he stayed up till dawn all the time. This went on for like 10 years. I toured with him 14 years, but one time we were on the road doing one-nighters everywhere, and we flew into Las Vegas. We opened at the Desert Inn, did 2 shows, and now it's 4:30 in the morning, and he's going strong, and I want to go to bed. I want to go play golf. And I get up from the table. There's like 5 guys, and he's telling stories, and I get up, and he said, hey, where you going? I said, I'm going to bed. He said, what for? I said, I got to get up early in the morning, go to the cemetery and visit all those guys. He said, what guys? I said, all those guys who died staying up with you every night. And he laughed. He said, go to bed. And
that's great.
Boy,
Now,